Hey everybody, this is Mike again, aka the Mad Vapist, the Mad Vapor. Doesn't matter, I'm just a little bit crazy in the head, so it's okay. But anyway, today I'm coming at you with a little bit of safety tips here and a little bit of information for you. People have been asking me a lot here lately, what is a Mech mod? And well, they kind of don't know, they don't understand it, and these things can get you in a lot of trouble if you don't know what you're doing. So most people, or a lot of people anyway, we run regulated. At least I do. See, so it has, you see the screen on there. It is adjustable. You can change it out. Let's see if my camera will actually focus in on it. I guess not today. But anyway, the regulated mod, what we got here is we actually have a chipset inside here. It has so many safety features. There's a screen on here. It'll tell you your voltage that you're pushing. It tells you your resistance. It tells you your battery life in it. It tells you what kind of setting you're using. Some of them have temp control. Some of them are wattage. Some are voltage. There's a whole bunch of different kinds of regulated mods out there. But the key thing to a regulated mod is that they all have safety features. Okay, so that means that if you put too low ohm of a build, there's like almost no resistance, really low resistance or anything like that, it won't let you fire it. If it's too high, it tells you that. If your batteries are dying, it will cut it off before your batteries have a problem or anything like that. It's really nice because they pretty much do all the work for you. You can put it on there, you can adjust it. Don't get me wrong, you can still way over crank a coil and burn your cotton or even fry the coil depending on what it is. But it gives you a lot of those safety features, okay? The safety features are always great. That's kind of what keeps them from blowing up in your face like what we see on the news. Anytime you see one of those on the news, I have yet to see a regulated device that actually blew up on anybody. The only ones I have seen are mech mods, okay? And what a mech mod is this guy here. If you open it up, there's nothing in there. See? It's just a tube. It's a tube with a connection on the bottom, connection on the top. So the entire tube here is your negative, connects to the bottom down here, and then you have the 510 plug up at top. So if you put your mod on, or you put your tank or anything on there, I don't really suggest tanks on mech mods, but a lot of people can run them, and it depends. If you know what you're doing, then you can do it safely. If you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna have a real problem. But what it does is instead of having any kind of safety features, it will let you fire whatever you want to try and fire on it. The problem is your battery. If you have a battery that only pushes 20 amps and you're trying to push a coil on there that's trying to push 40, you're going to blow your battery up. It's pretty much like a dead short. It's pretty close to just sticking a penny across the top of a 9-volt battery and watch it go. There's no safety features. Even on this one here, some of them will have a lock on the bottom, so that way you don't push the button. This one does not have that. So if you put this in your pocket, that button can get pressed. It touches the battery, sends voltage straight to that tank or to that RDA or to whatever it is that you're trying to use on top. And it doesn't matter. There's no safety feature to shut it off. There's no 10-second overdone, or whatever you want to call it. There's no 10-second limit. Okay, there is no limit to how long this thing will fire unless your battery just dies. That's the only thing it's going to do. And if your battery goes all the way down to zero, guess what? That's not a good thing either. They can be a little bit dangerous. So what you do with the regulated, you can put it on there. You can see what your resistance is. So that way you know if it's safe or not. You know if you have a dead short in your build. You know that how many volts that you're pushing. You can mess around with it, you can adjust it, you can play with it, you can choose what you like. With a mechanical mod, guess what? You push that button, you're getting the full charge of that battery, whether it be 4.2 volts or 3.7, somewhere in between there. You're getting all of that pushed straight to your coil. Now mech mods, I'm not saying are a bad thing altogether. If you know what you're doing, they are fantastic. I used to use mech mods when I was doing cloud chasing competitions. They are the perfect thing for that, because they just put straight power right to your build. But at the same time, I also know Ohm's law, and I did all my calculations to make sure that my batteries would hold that amp output. I made sure that they could push that kind of ohm, that kind of resistance without having any damage to the battery. And trust me, I have gotten myself real close to the limit there, and actually had one that misfired and stuck on, and I had to throw it out a window. Yeah. Luckily it didn't vent out completely. When I threw it, it dislodged the button and got it to stop the venting process, but it still was pretty freaky to have the thing start heating up in my hand and knowing what was going to happen next. So I just wanted to let everybody know about the Mech mods. If you know what you're doing, you can do the math, you can do the builds, you can do everything like that. Mech mods are great because they give you that power that you don't normally see. It's just direct power, and that's it. Another thing about Mech mods, though, is for beginners. If you are trying to use a Mech mod, you don't get that constant hit all the way through the battery. Okay, with the regulated, they have the chip in there, so that way even when your battery starts draining down, it tries to equalize the power for you, so that way you don't really notice that whole power draw apart. As your battery dies, it sits at that one level and you can still feel it. Once it gets to a certain level, yes, you will feel it start to drop off, but it is not nearly as noticeable as in a Mech mod. Now, another thing about the Mech mods, this one is not one. You can see the little center pin in there. So that means that you can have one that has like a flush mount positive pin, but I don't ever run those on a Mech. Okay, I don't like them. The flush mount is kind of a pain in the ass, and just I don't like running them on Mechs. Sub-ohm tanks on Mechs are just kind of a pain in the ass too. They're not that great. They're okay, but sometimes, a lot of the time, you end up burning your coil because you're pushing too much power to it. Now, I have heard of a lot of people having issues, and they talk about Mech mods. It's not always just the Mech mod. Sometimes what it is, I'll show you on my tank. If you look at my tank on there, you see that center pin? See how high up that center pin sits? That is not a flush mount center pin. That's one that you could use on a hybrid mod if you so choose. But I don't recommend it, okay? A lot of tanks that come out on the market don't have that upset positive pin. They are flush mount, which means that the threads and that pin go straight across. And the hybrid Mech mod, the way it works is on the inside, right? It'll look the same on the inside, just like that, with a little button on the bottom and everything. But on top, instead of having that 510 pin in the middle, all it has is threading in the top, and it touches the top of the battery. Most dangerous mod you can get is a hybrid Mech mod, because if you don't know what you're doing, if you have a build that's wrong or anything like that, or you don't have that protruding center pin, then you are creating a dead short across that battery. And there is no protection against it, considering it is sitting directly on top of that battery. You have that positive pin comes down, touches the positive side of the battery, while the outside casing there is all the negative going to the outside of your RDA. That's one reason I don't like tanks on Mech mods, or especially on hybrid Mech mods, because a lot of the tanks have the flush mount pin. Now, if you get RDAs, most of those RDAs will have the little extended 510 pin. Those are normally safe on hybrids, but once again, if you don't know what you're doing, hybrids are the most dangerous that you can get. So I do not suggest that for anybody. Even if you're experienced, I've done it a lot. I've made a lot of different builds. I've done cloud competitions. I have done stuff that has almost blown up batteries. I have gotten very close to having them explode in my face, in my hand, and everything else, because I was learning at the time, and I'm one of those people that if I can't do it, I'm going to try and see why. Now, if you're a beginner, what I do recommend, though, instead of getting a Mech mod or anything like that, you like cloud chucking, you like doing this, you like doing that, you can do all that with a regulated. Why can't you do that with a regulated mod? Guess what? Another thing that's really cool is you take this guy right here, you're only pushing about 4 volts, right? If you want to go really crazy, this one here, this has 3 batteries in it. Okay? You got 3 batteries in there. You can definitely push more than 4 volts if you want to. And that's really great if you want to do the higher ohm builds or run a higher ohm coil or anything like that, if you're running a 1 ohm coil, a Mech mod is not going to be your friend. It's going to take you about 5 minutes to warm it up, and then you're going to sit there and tiny little poof. And nobody really likes it. You have to build around a 0.2 or so on a Mech mod to get that huge cloud, or to get that vapor that you're really looking for. 0.2, 0.3 is about the best there, you know. And that'll keep you within the range of the battery normally too. But you want to make sure, I never ran batteries less than a 30 amp pulse, you know, or 35 amp pulse. A few of them I had were, they said they were 40 amp pulse, but yeah, those died real quick too. That's why they were my comp batteries. They hit hard for 1 second and they were done. But yeah, so if you like running those bigger coils, those 1 ohm builds, the 0.7 ohm builds, the 0.6, even 0.5 and over is really not that great on a mechanical mod. But guess what? You put it on a regulated, and you can do whatever you want with it. You can crank it up, you can crank it down, you can turn it up, turn it down, you can make it nice and easy, or you can make it harsh and catch fire. It doesn't really matter. I like the regulated mods because it gives you a lot more options. You can adjust it a lot easier. It's a lot nicer. And not only that, but it's a lot safer. They put a lot of time and effort into these mods to put them together to where they have all the safety features that they have. Okay, so if I hit this and I have a dead short up here, I can hook a wire straight from the positive to the negative on this, and if I hit the button, it tells me no. It won't put the power to it. It will not fire it. It says that it cannot do it. That's what I like. Especially if you're going to be a new builder, because a Mech mod will not tell you your resistance. A Mech mod will not tell you how many watts you're doing. It will not tell you the amperage output. It doesn't tell you anything. All it does is like flipping a switch to a light. You're on or off. That's all. Which can be quite dangerous, especially if you're uninformed on it. So if you ever do plan on working with a Mech mod, I suggest that you go online. You can get an app for your phone. It's really simple. It's called Ohm's Law Calculator. Okay? And if you're going to build on that, you also need either a multimeter, a regulated device, or something, an ohm reader. Something of that nature, so that way when you build it, you can put it on there, test it, and make sure that it's not shorted out. Because once again, if you have that short, it does not take long to hit that button and have that dead short fry your battery. And if your battery fries, you're fried. It's definitely a dangerous situation, and considering that a lot of the Mech mods, there's quite a few, they did normally make them with venting, you know, just in case a battery did go, but some of them are made without any kind of venting, which means you are holding a loaded pipe bomb in your hand if it goes off. So, just a quick rundown on that real quick. If you're a beginner and you don't know what you're doing and you'd like to get into vaping or anything like that, go into your local shop, talk to them about regulated mods. Do not ask them for a hybrid. Do not ask them for a Mech mod. Ask them for a regulated mod. Some of them are going very, very cheap nowadays, and you can get them with 1 battery, 2 battery, 3, or even 4 batteries if you really want to go all day long. So what is the point of having something that is so dangerous versus having something that is safe, especially to begin with? Not only is it safe, but it gives you all the information on the screen. There are so many regulated devices on the market, and most of them will have a screen. See if I can show it to you. If you can see it at all. See how it reads my... Will not focus. But it reads my watts. It reads my voltage. I even have different presets on here. So if I want to put a different tank on there, or a different RDA or something, I can have presets so I can just set it up to that. It's like right now I am vaping. When I hit the button here, my voltage is reading 3.65. Okay? 3.65 is almost a dead battery. That means if I would run this thing and I ran a full battery in there, I would fry my coil. My coil will not handle that. And I am running a mesh coil. It is a 0.17. I think it's supposed to be a... Oh, okay. This coil is actually supposed to be a 0.18. I thought it was supposed to be a 0.2 and it was a little bit off. But it is a 0.17 coil, which, once again, you throw it on a mech. One, that's a pretty low resistance. You can fire a 0.17 on a mech, but you want to make sure that you have the right battery for that. Number two, if you are going to fire a tank on there, make sure you get one that has a center pin. You don't want a hybrid. Three, if you are going to do something crazy like that, which I do not condone, I don't tell you to do it, please don't do it, but if you're going to run anything on a hybrid mech mod, make very, very sure that it has an extended 510 positive pin there. Otherwise, it is going to dead short the battery and have major catastrophic failures. So that's my piece for right now anyway. I may have another video coming out a little bit later. I'm not sure exactly what on, but I just wanted to get that out of the way and let people know what the difference was between a mechanical mod and a regulated mod, since I keep having the question of what is a mechanical mod and why you shouldn't use it. I'm not saying that nobody should. I'm saying that if you are inexperienced, you should not use a mech. If you can't do math, you should not use a mech. If you can't find the ohms calculator or build a coil, maybe you should stay away from the mechs. Stick with the regulated that actually has the safety features, and that way you don't hurt yourself. All right, you guys stay safe, stay strong, vape on, all right?